Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 388 of Pixels and Ink, the official podcast of CG Magazine, where we take a critical eye to gaming, comics, tech, and media. I'm your host today, Kirsty Hoog, and I'm joined by our editor-in-chief, Brendan Fry.
Hello there.
Dayna Eileen.
Ahoy.
And Jordan Biordi.
What up?
How are we all doing tonight, folks?
Questionable at best, and
so
Brendan is typing.
I will no longer type. Typing
Par
is done.
for the
He was
course.
typing how
Called
good
out.
he felt.
Just to the internet world.
It was like
Must be expressed in text.
like Morse code.
What's
Yes. Do you know Morse code?
Do you
Is that
actually
what we're
know
saying?
Morse code?
No, I don't actually know Morse code. 487.
Me and Jordan.
I don't know.
Like,
Maybe you
what?
were in, like Boy Scouts or something. These days they still learn that, don't they?
I was in a 4 above
I don't
Boy
know.
Scouts, but we didn't learn that, I don't think. I don't
was a
know. That was a
brownie.
long time ago.
I was in brownies.
I was a
You were in-
Cub
in-
Scout. Yeah,
in
Cub
brownies,
Scouts
I was a dinner table for for Halloween one time. My
I
head was a turkey.
Nothing.
No, a pumpkin. A pumpkin.
So this is our next hour then, is talking about this. We're going to
Yeah.
pack all of that.
It all
My
started
mom
back
made
in
mashed
Dickety
potatoes out of
2.
cotton balls. It was a good time.
Huh. So like a fully set table.
I
Oh.
think there was a theme or something. I don't remember. I just remember a paper mache pumpkin on my head.
I mean, I hope there was a theme that would quantify that.
I just got weird for Halloween. I
Yeah.
don't know what the problem is.
Got real weird.
Speaking of getting
what I
real
do
weird.
best.
I dig it.
Yeah, so top of our news
News.
segment today, we have Fortnite, which is getting real weird this season by taking out building.
Yes, finally. Fortnite the way it's meant to be played.
Wait for it. So there was some clickbait stuff today that I saw that was like buildings permanent, and then I clicked on it because they got me. They're actually gonna make it LTM.
Optional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna make it.
Yeah,
a
because that's
mode.
like you were like, and you were kind of like talking about it too, about like the oh it's only lasting like 9 days or something, and it's just like the way, I don't know how long it's supposed to last. I don't like I didn't really see that anywhere.
Yeah.
But like it seems like that's the crux of this whole like new season, like, you know, fighting the imagined order. They shut off buildings, so you have to get it back. So it kind of, if they stop it halfway, you know, they make like an event and like a new, like, you know, season like quests and stuff, I could understand that. But if like it went
Yeah.
to the end of the season, I could understand that too. It's just like thematically makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's.
I don't build at all, so I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah.
See,
And
that's just it. Like, I have a friend that plays that, like, works on his building. It's his favorite thing about the
Yeah,
game, and
no.
a lot of serious players, that's the case. And he's like, well, if they keep this, it's going to ruin the game. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. But for the
you
one
know what?
person, the one him that's mad, I'm happy. My son's happy. Chris is
I would-
happy. Jordan's happy.
I
Like,
would
there's
say
one
no.
of us
So
that are not mad.
as much as I like don't really care for the building, like I acknowledge it as a kind of like essential like mechanic in Fortnite, and it really is like what separates Fortnite from like all the other like imposter, you know,
Mhm.
battle royale games. Even like Player Unknown's Battleground, you know, which like debatably started this whole thing, like didn't really have that unique sense of flair to it. Like it didn't have like its own really like unique ideas, and I think that's
Yeah.
why it kind of got buried under Fortnite. But like having like an optional, you know, mode to not play as it is, I think, is fine. And again, like they turned it off, but they also introduced a lot of like really cool mobility mechanics. So it's like
Yeah.
bringing it back kind of like would make a lot of those things not necessary, which I'd say, I don't know, it's a weird trade-off, because I like a lot of the new stuff, like the sprinting and like faulting and stuff. Like it makes the game feel a lot more fluid and fun.
Yeah, I've only played one match so far this season, but I really liked the feel of all that stuff. It's just like, why has this stuff not been here before?
I had a really weird experience. So I played last night and the night before, just for a little bit. The night before last, everything I touched was new. Like all the old weapons that I had were gone, and it was a different weapon every time I picked something up. And the way everything worked was different, and every place I dropped, there were 4 billion people. And then last night I dropped in and barely saw anything different at all. Like it was all the stuff from last season. So I got two completely.
It's so far, I think I've noticed for the most part, it's been a fairly decent mix, like with the exception of like I'd say the drum shotgun, the revolver, and the scoped assault rifle. Like, yeah, you still have the auto shotgun, you still have the like the special like pump shotgun, you still have the ranger assault rifle, the like sidearm, like ranger sidearm. So yeah, it's not the craziest new like adjustment, but I'm happy with it for the most part.
Have you guys tried jumping while running?
Yes.
You just kind of like
you go like wee! Nathan Drake jump.
I have to make a really awful yell every time I do it at home. It must suck for everybody that lives with me.
I've so far I'm sitting at 1v. So
none for me.
It's so great. It's so funny though to me because like I think it was like for the season they reset like the victory crown emote thing to like 0. So I really love like now whenever I get a kill on somebody and I know that they're a human when they're still watching me, I'll just taunt them with that and it just says 0. It's like it makes me really happy.
Like nothing.
It's like haha, you got beat by a loser.
I dig that. I dig that actually. I'm down.
See,
for it.
mine only had one last season, like the entire season, so it was always kind of like a grand spectacle.
Yeah. I think I was sitting at like 2 or 3, but those were just like lucky wins where I managed to snag the crown like in like the last minute, and then like I got the victory, and so it was like totally unearned.
Dig it.
But just to have it still made it fun.
I mean, I always feel like anything I accomplish in that game was kind of unearned anyways, because I feel like I'm just picking on kids or something. It's like,
Listen,
yeah, sure I won, but like I basically just mowed down a child who can't control properly.
If they want to play in the same playground as the big kids, they're gonna have to get either get good or get stomped on. It's just the rules.
I don't know. I played for like 2 seconds before I left today, just so I remembered what I wanted to talk about. And my 7-year-old sits down and goes, "Mom, do you want me to help you?" Let's 1v1.
Oh, you know what? That's sweet. That's nice. I like that. No,
yeah. He's a troll. Don't. He's a troll. Do not support.
Well, because I remember way back in the day. This is a minor tangent, but like I remember way back in the day when Halo first came out and we were all playing like for the first time. It was like me, my uncles, and my dad, who like never really liked video games to begin with. Like he picked up the controller to try, and like we were all just like crushing him because he just like couldn't wrap his head around it. And he like just like had a tantrum. Like he just threw the controller down. Was like, this is like, he got like mad about it. And it feels like
Hero. Cried. Straight
like,
up cried.
So
not gonna lie.
It feels like in that moment it was like a reverse moment of what Dayna had. Like no one was really like, here, like let me help you. Like, because I mean even we weren't that good because this was like the first time we picked up a first person shooter that wasn't GoldenEye, and like the idea of using 2 sticks was so like foreign to us. We were just like, no one can live at this speed. But yeah, like no, he was just like, and that was like the nail in the coffin for like how much he hated video games after that. But like, so like I don't know, I feel like your kid coming up to you and be like, Mom, like it's okay, like let me help you. Like you should have been like, all right, son, yes, let me help. Like you can help me.
I did. I let him play for a bit. I was like, you do it. I didn't really want to. I just wanted to see what was new so I could remember names of stuff. But
yeah, where do you get off, kid?
I think also just to put like a last point on this, and I don't know how you guys feel. I feel like a lot of the battle pass rewards are really lame. Like all the gunner stuff is really shit. He's a shit looking like skin as well.
Who is? Sorry,
Gunnar is his name. He's a big like beef. He was the guy in the Spec Ops mountain that you can kill him and get his mini SMG.
It was one of the Foundation quests was to go kill him.
Yeah, so now he's like a skin. Everything he has is like a chainsaw of some sort. He's really stupid looking, and I hate him. I'm not a huge fan of the robot lady. At the very least, like no. I'll get an anime girl of my very own somewhere towards the end of the battle pass. So yay! But I do kind of like the Doctor Strange stuff. It's kind of a shame that like he's like gated to the very end of the battle pass.
Well,
yeah, I mean, like
the only good thing about it.
Well, that's why I played so much Fortnite last season, was to get Spider-Man, and he was like level 90. So
at the very least, I'll say that a lot of the extra stuff you got was really good. Like I didn't mind most of it actually. The gumball was really good. Like the The
Yeah.
Haven was okay. The Ronin was okay. But like I still think that like everything you got out of it for the most part was pretty good. Like and like the big like finale of getting Spider-Man was like the cherry on top.
Like a few of the raps and stuff.
Yeah,
there's
some of them are
that.
pretty good. It's just I don't know. A lot of them are subpar.
Yeah, I'll see how much I actually play this season. Like if the building stays off for a while, I'll be a little more interested. But
I mean, I'm gonna play.
The battle pass isn't gonna be a big motivation for me this season, so I might not even play all that much.
Well, I mean, at least at the very least to play just to like get the 950 V-bucks that you need to get the next one. Like
Yeah.
True. When you were on earlier, Dayna, did you get the new skin that came out today?
No, I didn't buy it. But she's pretty good.
Speaking
Mary
of last
Jane
season's battle
Watson.
pass, like the traditional Mary Jane comic book look is out now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why they waited until a week after that battle pass ended to add her in, but
maybe they were
now
still
we're talking
hyping the
about it.
movie.
Oh, I just poked
yeah,
myself in
like
the
that's
eye.
something that makes any sense is if they were just trying to like distance MJ from the movies from the comic Mary Jane. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit to talk about with Fortnite in the news this week. They also were donating proceeds from the game to Ukraine.
I think I saw it's up to
cool.
50 million now.
That's what I was just trying to grab a number here, actually. Yeah,
That's
so
100% of all
Spoiler.
proceeds. I think for like the next like 2 weeks or something are going to the relief effort in Ukraine.
36 million at least is what we reported earlier. Well, no, sorry, actually that was as of the 21st. So who knows where it's at now, actually.
Yeah, I mean, with the amount of money like people spend on Fortnite day to day, like it's their hope. I mean, it's almost depressingly hilarious that like we live in a world where we could say like a huge chunk of like the relief fund for Ukraine came from Fortnite. Like,
yeah,
but a good deed is a good deed, I guess.
It makes me feel good.
I mean,
gamers, we do things. We waste money
Yeah,
on
from time to
pixels to save.
I mean, Epic did the same thing too.
Ask us for money for the war, probably not. Ask us to spend money on pixels. And
yeah, Epic had a huge, like it was a humongous. It was like I think there was like 60 games in it, and it was like a $50 pack, and yeah, it was like 100% of the proceeds went to Ukraine.
So on Monday when we ran our article, it was 36 million. On the 22nd, the official Twitter announced they raised 50 million, and I haven't seen an update since actually. So at this rate, they're probably over 100 million.
Yeah, I don't think
well,
that's
what
good.
would
I mean,
really be cool is if Epic
1
matched that
billion.
because they could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but
they really could. Yeah.
Still, though, to put this much money towards it is nothing to sneer at either. So, yeah.
This is true. I will not.
So, no, it's really great. It's really great to see that how many people are like coming to the aid of the Ukrainian people because they need it big time.
Well, moving along, we also got the announcement of the winners of the Game Developers Choice Awards this week, and had a different outcome than normal, with it being a 3-way tie for the Choice Awards between Unpacking Valheim and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I can speak. Each taking home 2 awards from that. With Game of the Year going to Inscription, which is a game we have not talked about, but I've on the podcast. I'm not sure we even ran a review on the site, but I've been hearing a lot of good things about it.
I haven't even heard of it, to be honest. And that's like
we did a review on the site. We gave it an editor's choice.
Oh, perfect! I totally missed that.
Good for us.
Sound like a fool.
We got there.
Foot in my mouth, but yeah. So yeah, big winners of that one. And
good times. Good times.
Yeah, no, I mean,
the Game of the Year was surprising to me.
Really?
Nobody? Yeah. Inscription?
Yeah, I guess this is what I'm talking about. Like, it's had this groundswell of support and excitement that hasn't quite breached most of the industry, but the people who have played it have like really been really.
It just even not necessarily.
This game.
It just seemed like a little indie whatever that was hiding in the corner that most people didn't know about. I didn't realize it was Game of the Year worthy, and now
I see. This is the thing with it, is that once you play it, like there's 3 acts to it essentially, and like so after you get a handle on it in the first act, there's some kind of big twist that gets thrown at you, and things change a lot in the second act. So with avoiding spoilers, since I also don't know the spoilers, like there's a big
good, appreciate it,
twist. So yeah,
it's kind of, it's kind of like a choose your own adventure game, but it's like sort of like based as like a card game, right? Yeah, no, okay, yeah. Now
but it's
seeing
also
it
like
now I know,
game,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it's got really weird horror. Yeah, okay, okay. This, yeah, I've seen a lot of people talking about this too. Sorry, it took me a second. Like off just the name itself, because I thought it was called something different. Yeah, no, okay, yeah. I guess that is a little surprising, but at the same time, like I can definitely see why a lot, for like in terms of gamer choice, this is one that really stuck out, right? Like, it's kind of a thing. I think it's kind of a thing now, at least with the industry and how it's been lately. That like a lot of the AAA stuff has just been very like bog standard. Like it's not like, yeah, it's got a big budget and it's like, it's marketable, but like they're not really like, they don't leave lasting impressions. But stuff like It Takes Two and like something like this, even like Deathloop, like they stuck around because they had really good ideas behind them. Yeah, even just looking at best design, It Takes Two 100%. Like how would a game like Halo Infinite, which is like like a Halo game, if you somehow made it like less inventive, how is that going to be It Takes Two, which is like so intricately designed as like a really good story, a really good like visual like adventure, like the way it's designed for multiplayer. Like they put a lot of thought into it, like in every little thing when you look at it, right? Like naturally, game
won best audio. Unpacking.
Yes. I mean, that has pretty good audio.
Is it like lo-fi kind of? I've only seen like video of Unpacking like in like reviews, like video reviews. I haven't actually heard the music.
Oh yeah,
I heard it's really good. I actually like it's a very but it's also like very like emotionally designed, like the way you actually see this person's like life unfolding and the way that they're like just unpacking and moving into new apartments and stuff. Like it's got a lot of like depth behind it for something that like is like almost you could say it's like a mobile game.
Yeah, I like it. I played it to like chill out one night and it was cool. I got upset because like there's a proper place to put everything and I was like, I want to mess stuff up. But I guess I was missing the point. So there's that.
Unpacking doesn't seem very fun to me personally. It's like a calming thing that makes me stressed.
Well, you're not packing, you're unpacking, right?
That's what I'm saying. If I wanted to, it's not something I do for fun.
I don't know. I'd say there's a sort of like a chill, like zen to like actually like taking things out of a box and like putting it where you want it to go. Like trying to fit everything into a box, I would say is more stressful. But like when you actually like have it there and you can like kind of envision what like how you want your space to look and you're like making that come to life, I could see where a lot of like value is had in that.
Yeah, I get it.
To be, this is a strange tangent we're on now, but like this putting stuff in a box, that's Tetris to me.
That is Tetris.
That's how I load my car with cargo. Like
pack stuff in milk crates because they're never too heavy to carry. Just saying.
Yeah, the square blocks are always handy.
I always just get small boxes, so you never overstuff.
Yeah, one more tangent to answer the comments from the YouTube comments. War Never Changes is from Fallout 3.
I mean, it's from all the Fallouts, if I'm not mistaken.
That's where I first remember hearing that. So
I think it does go back as far as the first one, but I never played the original Fallouts on PC. I didn't have a good enough PC to do it, so.
Yeah, I played a demo and it reminded me of or someone was telling me about the Disco Elysium recently, and I'm like, this looks like that demo of Fallout.
It is,
30 years ago. So
that's why they say arguably they're the best.
Yeah, what else do we have from the GDC awards? Recognized Steven Spawn, or I'm probably butchering your last name, Steven, sorry, for the Ambassador Award for his incredible work in advocating for accessibility in video games. It's nice to see that because I've been seeing a lot of Steven on my feed, and the insights that he's had have just been like, oh my god, I can't believe I hadn't thought of this that way before. So good on the GDC for acknowledging him for that.
Yay. I'm sorry, I got nothing.
You got excited.
Yeah, so not much else too surprising in the award list, but though it is kind of neat to see what the game developers themselves put forward, as opposed to like the Game Awards where it's partly media and like fan reactions and all that.
Partly. It is a 99.9% media and advertisements.
This is feeling like deja vu, so we'll move along. This reminds me of a very long conversation we had a few months ago.
Yeah.
Jeff Keighley still hasn't added us about the whole Canadian gaming thing, so
yeah, because he's a coward.
No, I'm sure he just...
that's what it is. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that.
I'm sure it is.
It's not.
Let me have this.
It's not what it is.
Let me have that. He's scared of us. Just be important.
We're too powerful.
Hey man, take it where you can get it.
Speaking of power, the Nintendo Switch saw an update this week, which added groups, added folders to the Switch.
This is what you call power, Chris.
Pure ultimate organizing power.
The Switch can finally group things
when you go to your library only. Yes, it's
using
so powerful,
that NVIDIA chip.
Away.
Really making use of that NVIDIA Tegra chip. Yeah,
sure, I'm assuming you have some thoughts on that, but
you know what? No, and I think that's the point. Like, I saw it, I was kind of like, "Ooh, interesting! You can group things." And then I like went into my Switch because I thought they were finally like making changes to the home screen because the home screen like kind of sucks. And then I saw that, yeah, like you said, Chris, it's just like you can only do it from your library, and it's not even like it organizes your library. It just like creates a second sub tab where you can have folders. So it's like it's kind of pointless if you're not like me and you don't have 150 games on your Switch. Like, why are you ever going to do so you can group like Metroid and Luigi's Mansion into one little like my favorite 2 games folder? Like, who cares? It's not the update that the thing needed. The whole Switch interface needs like a better UI. It needs like more customization options. It needs like just like some creativity behind it. Like when I think back to the Wii and the Wii U and even the 3DS that had like, you know, those cool little like channels and like this like little like ambiance behind it. The Wii Shop had music. Like it all had this like, it felt like this very unique thing. And the Switch is just like dead silence all the time. It's very like, you know, like it's like almost like too clean. It's like sterile. And it's just like, it's not as fun as like what the system could be and like coming from its predecessors. So it's whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like the last few systems had such good like ambient menu music.
Yes.
And it's like,
even
like small things to be quibbling about, but like
that would
I mean, like
so happy. Like Fortnite has a lobby music, and they have like customized. Well, like, I turn it off.
The way too that like the Wii and the Wii U and it with the 3DS too, like when you kind of like loaded up a game, it like had that little splash screen before you actually like started the thing, which was like it added a lot of personality to every game, right? Like it kind of got you excited for it. This one's just like whatever. I
mean, the Switch, in some regards, the home menu is, like you said, needs a lot of work, but at the same time, it's very serviceable, and that's it. It's serviceable, which is a bit of a shame again when you look at the other consoles and how like kind of stylistic and cool they were.
We should strive for more than serviceable.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird.
Most things. I'm like happy that it's
a weird state.
I feel that is not a 10 out of 10. Yeah. It's fine.
I was kind of excited when I saw the news and I did the update and ran into it, and then I was like, oh, I don't know why I was excited. I don't know what I expected.
Such nothing. Yeah.
Because like even having folders on the main screen, that would still be a pain because it updates based on what you played last. So but that wouldn't work either.
But the 3DS did that before, and it like worked, right? Because like that was the sort of thing where like maybe it was different for the 3DS because it was a smaller kind of device and smaller screen. But like I always felt that having so many like menu icons always did make that little interface feel cluttered. So like being able to put like all my Game Boy games in one specific folder, all my like, you know, like Nintendo stuff, like indie stuff, all in like one specific folder was like just a lot, like made it a lot more like cleaner without really sacrificing any of its personality.
Yeah, it's a weird thing with it's so many things that go backwards with the Switch, despite it being such a popular system. Like they've managed to go backwards in a lot of ways, like virtual console, home menu design, and now it's a weird paradox that we're living in.
I feel like the Switch was as like, don't get me wrong, I know it's Nintendo and I love Nintendo and it would be great no matter what, but I feel like it just got really popular at
Brenda like that one.
It got really popular, like pandemic, everyone needed one. So it just became convenient that we were almost okay with it not being flawless.
I would argue that goes further even before the pandemic. Like I think there was a certain complacency, like for like not from like the gamers, because I remember even back when the Switch like launched, maybe it was because it was so popular and everyone was talking about it and everybody wanted one. These things were literally like constantly sold out in stores.
Yeah.
Like, but I remember seeing people like on like social media posting like really cool like concepts for like backgrounds on the Switch. Like, you know, you hover over like Breath of the Wild and the whole like background turns into like, you know, a little splash screen of like Hyrule Field and stuff. Like, and just like the way like friend icons were located differently, the way you could like reorganize like the menu like buttons, like people were coming up with good ideas. Like this has been a known like problem since the Switch launched, and like gamers have been kind of saying like, you guys could do so much better with this.
And have done in recent memory.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Even booting up the Wii U to buy some games at the Virtual Console before it went off, and the do.
Yeah.
I was like, this feels like home.
I saw it was a TikTok that was kind of just like, you know, like the sounds of nostalgia, and it was all like the startup like sounds from like, you know, like Game Boy Advance and all that stuff, and like just honestly just hearing that little like ding like from the Wii like brought back such good memories. Like, I was just like, oh man, I miss that sound so much. Like that was the sound of happiness back then.
Like the I still my PS4, I've had the same theme forever. It's like the 20th anniversary thing because it has the different startup sounds looped into it. But yeah. Nintendo takes another small step forward.
Nintendo, do better. We know you got the money. Just do it.
But look at the hardware sale numbers. It's fine.
Just do it.
It's true.
Just do it.
They need to do better than a lot of these things, and I'll talk about that later.
On that note, last bit of news. PlayStation is acquiring Haven Studios, but almost a year to the day since it was formed. What
do they do?
This is Jade Redmond's studio.
Oh yeah, those ones, yeah.
So I don't believe they've announced any kind of property that they're working on just yet.
There's a mystery property, I believe.
Yeah, we have no idea what it is.
Yeah, just mystery.
It's supposed to be a AAA multiplayer experience based on a new IP as well. So,
multiplayer experience.
Did they put anything in the past? Why do I feel like it's like? Is there anything we should know about from them? That like gives us
no, they literally just got
formed.
They just formed and then
just Jade Redmond's pedigree essentially.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Things to say.
But it's a Canadian studio, so
yeah.
We will say cool things when they do cool things. Is that good? Did I do it?
Yeah, you did. You nailed it.
A for effort.
You crushed it.
That's what I'm here for. Words and stuff.
This is why Jeff Keighley's not answering our calls, because
this level of
the enthusiasm for the Canadian news here.
Hey, I dig it. It's hard to dig it when I don't know what they're gonna bring. Like,
that's what I mean.
It's a good point. Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm not just gonna be like, yes, Canada. I'm gonna be like, please, Canada, don't screw this up.
It's not like it's not like them getting Bungie and we're like, holy shit, like, we know that's a deal.
Well,
absolutely.
Those are the guys who made the good version of Halo. Oh my god, I made Brendan laugh.
That was a good one too.
You're so salty, Jordan. Just so salty.
Listen, I thought Halo 4 was just okay. We don't
really
need to talk about 5 or 6.
I've never played a Halo game.
They're good.
Mm.
Halo 1 through 3 is like Reach. Oh, mwah, so good.
Reach is fantastic.
Oh, Reach is so good. And that
That reminds me, I
ending.
haven't actually touched Infinite for a while. I was playing the multiplayer pretty consistently.
I wonder
for a while.
why.
Probably because it's more exciting
Boring
things
as
came up.
awful. Yeah. Anywho.
Yeah, so we wish them well. It is still like there's not a lot to talk about with what they're doing because we don't know what it is, but it is nice to
Hopefully
see that investment in the local game industry. But we'll move along into our reviews and impressions segments.
Yes.
And since I have something of a carryover from last week, I'll go first.
Go for it.
I was talking a little bit last week about Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, which I hadn't finished reviewing at the time, but I have now. And yeah, I mean, I feel like it brought a really good idea forward, and then just kind of left it there. Like, here's a thing, here's most of a thing. Enjoy most of the thing.
Stuff.
Here is our 3/4 cooked meal.
Is that the theme tonight? Just like thing, stuff.
Thing. This
Yeah,
exists. This is a thing you could buy and play.
This
This podcast is a solid 7.
the non-enthusiastic podcast.
Well, yeah, that's true.
This is a weird paradox again, because like I enjoy the game, I enjoy playing it. It was fun. I even kind of got over the meme bullshit stuff that's in it. But just like they could have gone so much farther. Like there was
the fedora was fantastic.
The fedora is flawless, and I will
the fedora
no
image we
complaint.
chose for the title of this review is
it's
like,
so weird.
That's 10 out of 10 right there.
There is some A plus context to that picture as well, because in the scene, the character Jack is just randomly humming the Final Fantasy theme, like the main series theme, and someone comments on it, and he's like, "Yeah," well, he says something about it being like a classic song. Yeah, it's like, oh,
there, and then changed his mind.
He's like, I forgot the exact wording, but basically he says, "Oh, everyone knows this song; it's a classic." And he's just standing there with the Sinatra fedora on.
Yeah.
And then Sinatra's also like they also use Sinatra's "My Way" in the game. Like
That's so
like,
weird.
It's a weird,
God.
it's a really weird thing.
That is weird.
But yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff they kind of like brought to the table and then just left there. Like each mission in the game is based off of an environment from another Final Fantasy game. Cool. Really good idea. There is like there's loading flavor text on the screen when it's going into a mission. It says, "Oh, this level's from Dimension 2 or something," like telling you this is from Final Fantasy 2.
Yeah,
But nothing ever comes of it. It's never explained. Like, why is this relevant to the story? And just like, yeah, they try to swing for some Final Fantasy emotion at the end of the game, but they're doing it with Team Ninja writing, which doesn't help either. So it's like they want you to be emotionally invested in this guy, but they also
laughing. My mic is shaking because I'm laughing at how unimpressed you are.
Was it as good as the exchange between Dante and the soda lady from DMC?
I don't think I've seen that scene, but I'm imagining it's probably the
that
same.
Was like top tier. It was literally I'm not hyperbolizing. It's like a solid 10 seconds of them just saying F you back and forth. Like it's mwah, like
it's that energy, I suppose. Then it sounds like that energy. Yeah, just one step further, you would have had a much better game. But as it is, it's just it's a fun game, but it's not. I don't know how memorable it's going to be. So
wow,
that's too
bad. The first time like Final Fantasy looked attainable to me. So it's the fedora.
Did you? But Chris,
yeah,
you haven't answered the key question. Did you kill Chaos?
I am.
That's a spoiler. So I'm not going to ruin the end of the game.
You can't spoil things like that, Joe.
That's
Come on.
Yes.
It's not more. It's more than it seems.
Maybe they fell in love and moved in together.
Oh my God!
Maybe the true chaos was the friends we made along the way. So.
Yeah.
The
true
they
chaos
just M. Night Shyamalan your
was
ass.
the friends we killed along the way.
This reminds me of another thing that kind of bugs me that they left on the table. Like they kind of play with the concept of maybe chaos doesn't really exist. Maybe it's a concept.
Oh God.
But then
I clearly don't.
Then he shows up and is
something
like,
about
"Oh hi guys, I'm Chaos."
I'd
see the name tag. It says Chaos.
It's right there. It is on the name tag.
right on the fedora. What?
Just
Everyone gets a fedora
chaos.
in the game.
Chaos was the final boss of the original Final Fantasy, and I used to spend so much time staring at the damn poster map that came with the game, where they had Chaos's silhouette at the bottom of the map, like showing all the enemies and stuff that you could fight throughout the game with all their stats, and all of his stats were like question marks. And I was like, this is so cool.
Oh yeah.
And even still, when I was reviewing the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster a few months ago, fighting him again like brought back this little rush, and now he's a goddamn meme. Like it's frustrating
that's
in a
fair.
way.
You put anything in a fedora and it becomes a meme. Chris, we know this.
All I have to say, don't like that's not all meant to be insulting or downplay the quality of the game. It's just it's fun. It's just not as much as it could have been. So
yeah,
don't be discouraged by Final Fantasy yet, Dayna.
Okay, we'll get me there someday.
We'll get you there someday. So
Sunday?
Jordan, you actually Sunday works. I'm free Sunday.
Cool.
Jordan, you had some big ones though for games that came out this week.
I had Deuce,
3, 2,
and
1.
in a very similar vein, so I got to review Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and it's an apt title because they kind of forgot the fun. Like kind of well, okay. You know what? I mean, yeah, like it's like interesting for me to think about it, like because I grew up like loving Kirby. Like I played, I think I told the story in a review. I might have told it on podcast. I played Kirby Superstar for the first time in my life accidentally while I was in the green room to go on Video and Arcade Top 10. We were supposed to be playing Timon and Pumbaa's Jungle Games on the Super Nintendo. First, they gave us Kirby Superstar, and I was like, "This is amazing," because I'd never played Kirby. Play Kirby's Adventure. I mean, I played a bit of Kirby's Dreamland, and but I was like pretty young. I didn't fully grasp it.
You didn't fall in love yet.
So
you just had
not at the time.
Feelings.
And so and then they gave us the Lion King SNES game, and they're like, okay, this is the game you're playing. And then we went out onto stage and we were playing something completely different. So yeah, and just thinking about all the Kirby's throughout the years, leading up to the more recent Kirby's, they were all really inventive and really memorable and fun. And I think ever since Return to Dreamland kind of toes the line, but it's still a mostly good game. I would go back to it. But Kirby's Triple Deluxe, Planet Robobot, I didn't play a lot of Star Allies. I wasn't hyper crazy about it. The Battle Royale weirdness, weird sub Kirby games they were making at the time too. None of them left any lasting impressions on me. And Kirby's and the Forgotten Land is very much the same. They present it like it's this big thing, but every level is fairly small and contained. There isn't a lot of powers you get. There's only 10 powers in total, and 2 of them are what used to be sub powers, sleep. Sleep was always kind of a joke power. You just got it and Kirby went to sleep and it was oh, it's cute. And the one where you could just wipe out an entire screen, it's called Crash. That was an extra sub power you could get. They give it a dedicated
real life.
It's pretty neat. Yeah. You just what was that? Was it Final Flash? I think it was Vegeta's move where it just blows up the world.
I'm sorry, did you just say Vegeta?
Yeah, Vegeta.
Yeah, from
Dragon Ball.
His move, Final Flash. I'm pretty sure he does it. He's Final Flash, and he blows up.
That's not what she heard.
That's
that's an ODNG joke, and I'm not going to get into it.
This is a dark hole that we're going to avoid.
So yeah, it's they dedicate 2 spots to those powers. So realistically, there's only 8 powers. The 2 new ones they add are not the best. They're very limited too, and how you could do it. You go back and play previous Kirby games, and you had a neutral attack, an air attack, a running attacks, some cool little sub attack. If you did an up down combination, you do cool stuff. This is you press one button and it's attack.
That's
and then
cool.
The way you upgrade stuff too, it's the same thing. It's it doesn't really fundamentally change the power; it just makes it a little different. So it's not it's really worth playing with. I got one that was the fire thing where you can upgrade it to the point where it's just broken. You can set bosses on fire, they take constant damage. It's just dumb. they don't really do a lot with the mouthful modes either, like where you can absorb the shit and like turn into like a car. Like it's like it's rarely used. And it's like something I noticed with a lot of these new Kirby games where it's like they don't like take an idea and say, okay, like this is an idea we have. Let's find a way to incorporate this into the entire game. It's just like we have an idea. Let's make like a few levels where like at one point the rest of the level is just built around this idea. And it's just like that's it.
So
You
is
use
it
it once, it's one and done.
supposed to be like the new, just I could be completely misunderstanding the game, but it's supposed to be like an open world version.
It's not. It's not even remotely open world. It's just.
But it was
3D
supposed
Kirby.
to be, right? Though, like that's what.
No.
I totally thought that was the plan.
Well,
I was
the
like,
way-
I, like
I think a lot of people saw the footage and assumed
Yeah.
open world the same way people did with Arceus, right?
So I'm
100%,
not completely
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, no, that's
Okay.
kind of the way they were selling it. And that's why I kind of
Yeah.
thought so too. And then I
And
saw a
that's
little bit
not
more of it,
what
and I was kind of like, okay, I don't think they're going open world, but like maybe, you know, like, yeah, they're doing like a Monster Hunter thing where you can like fly around and go to these individual levels.
We are assuming a lot of stuff is open world these days. Like I was talking to someone who had
Everything.
bought Stranger of Paradise and thought, oh, like I bought it thinking it was open world game because of this one shot in the trailer. No,
it's
not at all.
No,
I
so-
also
and-
thought
and-
that was.
and that's part of the thing too about it, like the fact that it's a wholly 3D-ish, like, or like wholly 3D Kirby game doesn't really work in its favor, because like a lot of what made older Kirby games work, like, you know, with the way you got the powers, the way enemy placement was, like it worked really well in two-dimensional space, you know, because of like, you know, you only have like two ways to move around, right? So you have to kind of play around. You can play around with different powers, whatever works for you. Like there's only ever one thing impeding your way, sort of like in one or two directions. Now it's like you have these giant open spaces. They don't throw a lot of enemies at you, so there's really no challenge, right? And I said this in my review, where it's like, okay, I understand that this is a baby game made for babies, but it's like, even as a child, like, you know, when I was a little kid, I loved Kirby Superstar, and it had teeth. Like it felt challenging, despite like, well, not being completely impenetrable, right? And it's like, you know, I don't want to be one of those gatekeepy guys who is like, oh, games need to be harder these days. It's like, but it's like this game doesn't even really try. And it's like, I appreciated the fact at 1.2 that they got rid of the lives system. Like they do the same thing that Odyssey does, where if you die, you'll like just lose some coins, but the coins aren't like super useful. Like you can buy some like single use items that you can keep like on you, so like, you know, if you need like a health recovery item, you can just keep it midway. I don't know when you would ever use it, but like something I noticed that it does, which I thought was weird, but I guess interesting, is that like if you start taking hits repeatedly, it actually starts lowering the damage caps. Because I like effed up one of the challenges to save one of the Waddle Dees. So I decided just like to kill myself just to restart the level. And it took me like an hour because I kept jumping into the pit this like over and over again. And it's like, after a certain while, it started just taking off less and less health. So I'm like, okay, like I get you're like helping, you know, little kids so that they, you know, they don't die on every level, but this game's not even hard enough that would be a problem.
But we have to die at some point.
But then it has like,
I'm just picturing you hurtling Kirby down this hole for an hour, just going like,
just getting agitated.
Why
like,
won't you die?
Why
And
do you
then
make me do this to you, Kirby?
There's an item that even gives you a second health bar, and like there's two modes of this game. One of them is the wild mode, which is like the normal mode, and then there's spring breeze, which is like baby mode for babies. Like you get extra health, like enemies don't do that much damage. Like
the casual mode from the Yoshi games, yeah.
It's like I don't know. I would say it's beyond casual, like because that's the thing, and that's the thing I think about too with the Yoshi games, or at least like Yoshi's Woolly World, and even like looking at Kirby's Epic Yarn. Like those games managed to be difficult, like without really being impossible, but they like redefined the terms of why it's difficult, right? Like that, like there was actual like, you know, necessity to collecting all the beads and wanting to get the gems to do that stuff. Like this Kirby doesn't really have that, like insofar that I guess you're getting the Waddle Dees to open up the town, but the stuff in the town isn't like that much fun to do. Like, you get a couple sub games and the arena mode, and it's like that's it. So yeah, like it was very, very forgettable. I beat it all. Like if I had, you know, this was because I was like playing this like alongside like Elden Ring, and I had a lot of time to review this for once, so like I wasn't playing it every day for like 10 hours. If I really sat down to do it, there's only 6 worlds. You could probably clear this game in like 6 hours.
Wow.
And that's, oh my god, that's another thing that kills me about these new Kirby games. So it's like they introduce the boss of the game like literally at the very end. So it's like you get to the 4th world and it makes it seem like King Dedede is like the big bad again, like he's the one who's pulling all the strings and making
We're not supposed to spoil the game.
It's Kirby, I don't care.
But we care.
We care.
And then okay, so spoiler warning going forth for all you Kirby players who are really that invested in the story of Kirby. So then you get to like the final world, right? And it's like, oh, it's King Dedede again. You fight him. It's like, okay, cool. And then it's like once you beat him, it's like Kirby goes into this like elevator and it's introducing this idea that like, you're in like a research facility and like they found this like otherworldly alien thing who like, I guess like changed the way that their world worked, but also like kind of like started like destroying the world. And then you get to it, because this is the thing with Kirby, right? Kirby, because everyone knows about Marks and Nightmare and and 02, like those are like the big eldritch horrors of the Kirby games. Every Kirby game now has to have some eldritch boss at the very end. You get there, the guy, the big alien looks so shitty, like it was the worst thing I've ever seen. I was like, really? And then there's some lion guy, like he's like King Lion from like the Rudolph movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just sitting there like the whole game has been building to this. And so like, this is the first time I'm meeting you. And you're sitting there like, I've been waiting for this moment for 5 minutes. Like, and then you beat him. It goes into this weird like Akira thing where the alien turns into some giant blob. And then he merges with your little elf friend with the rodent thing. But then it just turns into some generic looking like eldritch like angel with like a staff. And I was kind of like, even like, I get it that people thought that was a good idea, and now you want to have every Kirby game have this like big thing at the end. Even Planet Robobot had the balls to like bring back the big thing from Kirby Superstar that like made Marks the way he was, the Wish Comet. And it's like there was no build up to this. It wasn't interesting at all. Like it's just they're just doing it now just to do it. So it just feels very lazy. Yeah, like and then I did it. There's like an extra mode at the end where you have to like blow through like all the levels, but they're like kind of like mishmashed. And that felt very like, I was like, no, I don't need to do this. I'm done. And I just like deleted the game. Then I played Rune Factory 5. It's a mess. I was a big fan of Rune Factory, as you know. I love me some Harvest Moon. Kind of took me a while to get into Rune Factory because the first one was really weird. Second one was really good. This one, like I said this in my review, I think saying that like the bones of a good game are in this, because it's like that's not what I got to play. It's just like I checked online to see like the Japanese version was really busted, and it's up to version 1.1.1 now. The North American version released at 1.0.1, so it's still got like all the problems. It runs like ass. It's like at any time it's maybe like 15 frames a second. Lot of visual glitches. There was I brought this up in my review. There was one cutscene where they introduced a character, and for whatever reason, all my characters were just like looking around, and then their heads started like twitching out, like Lisa from
you were telling
PT.
me about that.
There was one part where I booted up the game and it froze on one of the like publishing card screens. So that was fun, and I sent that to Dayna.
Yes.
And
we know who it's made by.
There was another time, so when you boot up the game, right, like depending on what your language option is set at, like the main character will read the title, be like Rune Factory 5. Like for whatever reason, I booted up the game once and it read the title in Spanish, and there's no Spanish language option, so it was really bizarre.
Giving you a little lesson, keeping you on your toes.
there's a lot of times where like if you're running and holding a tool, like these are little things that just will bother me. I don't know how much they'll bother other people, but like there's like if you're holding a tool, like there's like a frame where it'll just like snap like into like this like stationary position. Like it's just it's so bad. It's like so badly structured. Like, you know, the premise of almost every Rune Factory game is that you're a person with amnesia, and like that's part of the story. So like, you know, the first mission you're sort of given in this game is like go introduce yourself to everyone in the town, which I did. And one of like the main characters, she's like the head of the Rangers, but she's also a child because anime. And so like I think I had only talked to her like once outside of like every dialogue like cutscene interaction that we had. So like after maybe like 5 or 6 interactions, I went and like talked to her just to like, you know, build up the friendship meter. And like she was like reintroducing herself. She's like, "Oh, it's you. I don't know if you remember, but I'm so and so." It's like, yes, we've talked many times now. Like this is not new. So it's just like you can tell that they didn't put a lot of thought into the way like dialogue happens. Even like one of the early like festivals you can have, I chose a cooking festival. And I got to the town square, and like, you know, if you're familiar with like, you know, Story of Seasons games or even like, you know, Stardew Valley, like when you get to a festival, it's like, you know, they have like little booths set up, and like it just makes it feel like
there.
Yeah, it makes you feel like it's like a little event is happening, right? This was just like a big empty space. People were just standing around, just like whatever. And then it was like there was no like tables set up, there was no like cooking apparatuses anywhere. It's just like empty space. And then I went to the person who was like in charge of it, and she was like, "Okay, I'm accepting any entries from like 11 a.m. to 6 p.m." And there was no way to do, like most Harvest Moons or most like games like that have a way to just say like, "I don't have anything to bring. Can we commence the festival?" There was no option here. So it's like I don't know if the game wanted me to wait until like the 6 o'clock in game to something to happen. I was like, no, I'm not standing around doing nothing. And that particularly pissed me off, the festival, because again, it's a little visual hang up that nerds like me have, where like you can tell that like all the visuals are happening on like a like, you know, their like dedicated sort of like layer, but then like the confetti was happening on a separate layer in front of everything. So no matter how you turn the camera, like the confetti like spawned in. It was literally spawning in like in the middle of the screen. No matter how you turn the camera, it was so like visually jarring. And then that's not even getting to like the combat, which is really monotonous and lazy with the frame dropping. It doesn't help. Like there's only one like shitty kind of like dash move you can do. There's no like depth to it. And I don't know if that's made worse by the fact that I've been playing Elden Ring for the past 2 weeks. Like now my bar for combat has been set really high.
Yeah, for sure.
The farming is fairly standard, but again, like, you know, that's you can expect that from a game like this. Like that the farming element didn't bother me. It was just more, again, like a lot of the visual problems that it has that leans into it doesn't make it feel like very genuine. And yeah, it's a messy game. You can tell something about the quality of the games I played, how quickly I deleted them from my Switch after I was done with them. Like I don't see myself ever going back to Kirby. Like I would sooner play Kirby Superstar or even Kirby's Dream Land 3 on the SNES like virtual console than I would ever go back to Forgotten Land, because it's like, again, it's forgettable. And yeah, Rune Factory, until they bring out like serious patches like what they have in Japan up to this
Rune
point,
Factory has a chance.
Rune Factory could have a chance if they fix it, because I was reading through the patch notes of a lot of those patches, and a lot of them seem to be like performance enhancements, like a lot of like genuine bug fixes.
Just a genuinely strange move why they would release it here at an inferior version. Like normally when they fix the Japanese version, normally they release that here, because why would you not?
It's weird, and I don't know.
So we appreciate it more when we get the better version.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a case too that maybe like the version we got is the patched version. It's just the North American like 1.01. But even still, like it is just so bad. Like it's completely unacceptable that they released it in this state. Like, and it's for a game like this that is like not like, you know, again, comparing it to something like Elden Ring, like that actually had like size and vision and ambition. This is like,
I'm gonna stop you there. Those are very different scopes of games. Like that's
Yeah.
saying this massive AAA release is better than this smaller release. Why is this massive game so much better? I don't get why this huge team they used was able to build a much bigger world.
That's kind of exactly my point, Brendan, is that like if say like Elden Ring like came out and it was like not in like a worse like it was broken, but it was sort of like even a little bit worse than it was not like when it released, you could say, okay, I can kind of understand because of how big it is. This game is not nearly as ambitious and it is like 6 times as broken. So like, it's completely unacceptable.
But Jordan, you're comparing massive different scales of games. We don't know the team size of Rune Factory. We don't know how much time they put into localizing, how much time into patching it, and how much of a crunch this team was under.
I'm just confused why they would release a shittier version here.
But this is what I mean, Brendan. This released in Japan in 2019. Like this is not new. Whoever was working on this. Like,
but I'm saying, Jordan, is you're looking at the problems you're seeing, and you're saying, well, they patched it in Japan, but it's not patched here. It might be patched here. We don't know what the exact issues they had in Japan unless you looked up exactly.
I was looking at the patch notes. Almost every patch is like performance enhancements and bug fixes. Like, but I linked it in the review.
Okay. My point was, do you know exactly what patches were applied to the version we have here compared to there?
It really actually doesn't say, because like on the list that I found, it said that all the patches were going live or supposed to be included in when it released in 2022 or on March 23rd. So
this might just still,
because I know you did wait to see if there were any patches.
Yeah, I genuinely waited to see if all the patches would come into the thing. But regardless, if this is the best that they did, like I said, if this is all the patches they put into it, and it still runs like this, because this is beyond being on the Switch, because we know the Switch can run things. It's not an incapable system. I always do. I'll bring it back to Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is probably twice the size of a game like Story of Seas or Rune Factory 5 on the Switch, and it runs. So that's kind of my point. Regardless, I get what you're saying. We don't really know who was working on it and what, and how, how the development for the North American version went. If it's kind of
if it's one guy though, they should be like, hey guys,
they had a template. This, it was not ready for release. And a game like this, it's not.
Jordan, I understand that point. I was saying, comparing a game like Rune Factory to Elden Ring, that is not a fair comparison. Even if the game released pristine, you're why is this game has less scale and scope than Elden Ring?
But
that's not fair.
I'm saying,
saying, why is a Mario game better than a small indie release? Scope and scale and team sizes will often determine how big or how polished an experience can be. Also, QA departments. How big is the QA department for Elden Ring versus the QA department for Rune Factory? That's another thing to take into consideration that is often misguided and not thought of when looking at a release. Your system configuration, how much space you had in the system. You could have had a specific situation, not saying you did, but it's really not fair to compare games of different scales and say, why does this one game do something when this other one doesn't? That's not fair. You can say, why does this game release in a broken state? That is perfectly fine. But it's not fair to a team to say this other thing is better. Why is it?
I'm not just going to step in. I'm looking at Metacritic's user reviews, and I'm just losing all faith in the concept of user reviews, because if the game is busted, well, I already when I say all faith, I didn't have a lot to start with.
It's failing now because they went offline for a day.
It's game had microtransactions, bomb score. Meanwhile, this game has a lot of 10s and 9s and 8s.
There's a lot of weebs were waiting for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. it's disappointing to hear that it launched that way, because clearly people were very excited for it, judging by these.
I was
these
actually
comments.
really looking forward to it too. Like when I saw the review option and I saw, like, when I remembered that like Rune Factory 5 was happening and nobody on the team had claimed it, I was like, oh, like I'm gonna jump on this because I actually want to play Rune Factory 5.
Yeah, you were excited when I gave it to you.
And yeah, like it's just it's totally like no way, you know, like, and even
Right.
and that's not to say that even like the last one too, like I don't know if it's like Marvelous or whoever, like kind of like coasting like on you know, or like resting on their laurels, because like Pioneers of Olive Town didn't launch in a great state either. And you know, and for like a, you know, for like a Story of Seasons game, I was willing to be a little forgiving to it, because I was like, okay, you know what, like it's a lot simpler, like it's not you know, like, you know, it's not trying too hard, so like, you know, like maybe, you know, a couple patches, fine, whatever, like if they just get the frame rates up, I'll be happy, right? Like, but this
I
one was
worry
just
more
like,
about that festival dialogue, stuff like that is much
Yeah.
more.
that's what I
serious
mean. Like
problem
this
for
is
me
like
in these games.
legitimate, like things are missing. Like this is just, it just feels lazy, and you know, and
That's
like
pretty bad.
I don't want to, like you like you
I've
said,
seen
Brent.
that
Like I don't
happen
want to.
with games that are like number 5 too. They've just been like, people already like this, it'll be fine. And I'm like,
By this point,
please
yeah.
don't. Please
But
don't.
it's a weird thing, because that's what I mean. Like Rune Factory 1, I remember like being fairly primitive, and it was a weird kind of game, just because like the reason I didn't get into it was because it had this weird system where like they were really selling it on the idea that it's like, this is a Harvest Moon, but you can also go into dungeons and fight monsters, and it's an RPG as well.
Yeah.
But then it's like they locked how you got to go to the dungeons. Like you had to get like permits to do it, and how you did that was very like archaic and not explained very well, you know. So, and then like 2 came out on the DS, like was really good, fixed a lot of problems, had a really good story, a really cool like mechanic where you sort of start as one character, and then once you sort of reach the end of that like point, like once you have a kid and you like, you know, get married and all that stuff, like the story like shifts, and it's like your player character's like, oh, I remember who I am now, and he leaves, and you take over as your kid, and you start a whole like separate game. That was really cool. Number 3 had a bigger release in Japan, because I never really saw it in America ever. Like the only time I ever actually saw, or in North America, because I only ever saw a box for it when I went to go buy Rune Factory 4, and it was just sitting there as a used game, and I was like, this came out here. So yeah, like it's not like it's had this like really like you know, wide adoption where like number 5 is the one that they really phoned it in and just like stopped trying on. Like you think that number 5, and they made a big deal of it, they had a direct announcement and everything, they re-released number 4 on the Switch, like you think they really would have tried extra hard on this one, like, you know, it's
We'll
just
have to wait and
just
see if any
really
patches do come out for it. Keep
Yeah.
an eye.
But at the same
Report
time,
back.
you know, like I said, like it also feels like I've gotten to the point now where I've become very unforgiving to games for, like, you know, that release broken with this like, you know, release it now, patch it later mentality. Like I'm
I
tired
don't
of
like
playing
that either, I'll give
games.
you that.
That's what I mean. I'm tired of playing broken games, and people are just like, oh, well, you know, give it like a month, they'll patch it. It's like, no, I don't want to buy for $79 Canadian, $90 after
And
tax.
hope they fix it.
You know, yeah, and hope to God they
Yeah.
fix it. Like it should be fixed when it goes out. And I'm just like, I'm not playing games. That's why I gave it a 4 out of 5, because like by my, like, not only by our like the CG standards, but my own like this is bad even for a Story of Seasons. Like it got the score it deserved from me. Like it's just,
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like this March we're seeing some studios launch games that just need to be crammed into the financial year that ends at March 31st or something. So not to say that's what's happening here,
No.
but I've
Never
getting that vibe from
process
some
that.
things this month. But anyways,
Wink, wink.
we had another review for a game that comes out tomorrow from Dayna. Why don't you tell us about Tiny
Oh
Tina's
yeah,
Wonderlands?
you did stuff. Sorry, I got a
did
little
lots
heated
of
there.
We knew that was coming though.
It's still the
We
spotlight.
pre-warned that.
Sorry, I know.
No, I got to play Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I mentioned it very briefly. I will say that I was not a player of the Borderlands games before this. My lovely boss man over there purchased Borderlands for me to do a little research. Look, there he is. Yeah, but it turns out I really, really enjoyed it. number one, the cast was insane.
I didn't know
so
Andy
Ashley
Samberg
Bird-
was in it. Like that's a deal maker for me right away.
Neither did I until I was like, this character really sounds like a male Wanda Sykes. And I went to look up who it was, and it turns out it was just Wanda Sykes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But then I started.
I thought you
looking
were
at
going
the
somewhere
cast.
really weird. That was like Andy
No.
Samberg is a male Wanda Sykes.
But I went to IMDb and was looking at the cast. So Ashley Bird, she
Yeah.
plays
Yeah.
Aloy
Tina.
in Horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ash,
but
what you playing?
Aloy in Horizon. She plays Ray in Fortnite Save the World, which was
Oh, get
a
outta
big
here.
fun surprise for me. She plays Tiny
she's done a
Tina,
lot
and
of
then you've
stuff.
got Andy Samberg plays Valentine, and then Will Arnett is the big bad.
The big bad, yeah.
So that was a lot of fun for me. Those are some of my favorite people, and I don't have much of a sense of humor, but I caught myself laughing out loud at this game. So I don't like. I'm an
Yeah.
internal. Like, we'll watch something hilarious, and everybody will be looking at me like there's something wrong with me because I'm just sitting there. I'm
Well,
like,
and
what?
that's-
It's funny. I'm just not a.
It's
Loud.
interesting.
Laugh out
it's inter-
loud. Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
interesting to hear that too, because yeah, I feel like having played Borderlands 1 and 2, like there was a lot of moments where it felt like it tried really hard the comedy, and like there were a lot of times where I was just like, sitting there like deadpan, like, okay, like let's move it along here. Yes, Claptrap is very cute and lol to random. Like, let's go.
Yeah. It was funny. It was immature because keep in mind Tiny Tina's character is like a preteen, right?
Mhm.
So one of the first characters that you really get to know is Queen Butt Stallion. a
Of course,
unicorn.
as you would.
Yeah, and we were talking about this last week when we were talking about the whole tabletop life, and your board is like covered in bottle caps and Cheetos and stuff like that. And Tina
As
is
they
just loud and obnoxious, much like I am. So it made me laugh a lot. I really enjoyed it.
Question.
Yes.
What is Queen Butt Stallion like? What's like? Describe the character to me.
Oh God, so much pressure.
It's
You're
not a
just
question, it's a
introduced,
band,
like,
really.
they come to save the day at the beginning of the storyline. It's actually in the.
Are they
opening
just a
cutscene.
unicorn? Like, there's no like they don't like talk or anything.
They're the
like...
queen. Yeah. They're the
Okay.
queen. They it's not like mouth moving talk,
Just
but
telepathically.
they talk. They're pretty fabulous, and I'm not going to say any more than that because story.
Okay. I
Um,
don't know. I feel
but-
like
Yeah.
I always, when I think about something like that, it just, my mind automatically goes to, I don't know if you guys watched Dave the Barbarian.
no, I didn't.
One of the characters was Sparkles the Wonder Horse, which was like
Oh my
the
God.
like one of the main characters, like magical flying horse, and they look like they're like this pretty pink, like, or like, like My Little Pony looking kind of horse, but they talk like Christopher Walken, and everything they say is this like horrible, like, I was had that
Unrelated.
dream, I was killing penguins with a croquet mallet.
Unrelated,
Like,
but somehow still related. One of the things you can do with your character in this
mhm.
is give it Steve Buscemi eyes.
Ooh.
Great.
Sorry, Christopher Walken brought me to Steve Buscemi. It was a whole thing.
That's a
Makes
weird
sense.
through line,
It tracks.
but
It tracks.
It did it. It did it. Hey, look who's
So
there right now.
I don't know. I think I was just hoping for more like subversion of the trope. But go on.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. What else can I say without spoiling much? It is very
Just
much a
spoil
looter's
it, who
dream.
cares?
There's
A lot of
cares?
No,
It's just
Yeah.
video
Who
games.
cares?
It's not
It's
important.
not even out yet.
It
People
comes out
care.
tomorrow. It's like Kirby, so
Yeah.
Who
yeah.
cares? It's just stupid.
A
video
lot of people
games.
do. A lot of people do. Go on, Dayna.
Oh God,
Jordan,
does the bad guy
Give you a
lose?
solid
in the
half
end?
hour. I think it's my turn.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Anyway, so the environment's pretty cool. There's a ton of looting, which almost overkill, and I love like exploring every corner, opening every box. Even if I know I don't need anything, I'm gonna open the box.
Yeah.
You can collect things, so there's lucky dice to collect. There's scrolls. There's little side games you can play. Something I thought was really cool was lost loot. Now, I don't know if this was in Borderlands. I probably should have figured that out, but I enjoyed it in Tiny Tina. If you don't pick up loot, you can go into the town and there's a little box.
Oh, yeah.
essentially, that's just anything you didn't pick up. And I was like, yes.
No,
And I can
that's new.
Breathe
Yeah.
easy. You can breathe easy every once in a while.
But that was-
But it is still pretty linear in you enter this area, kill these guys, open these boxes, move to
Yeah.
next area. But the added element of the tabletop board was pretty cool. You could walk around. If you run into something, it starts an encounter. There's dungeons, there's cities, there's Cheetos. So it was
How
neat.
many Cheetos?
A few, actually. You have
Ugh.
to help one raise it into the air, and then Tina eats it. So spoilers.
I
I
feel
was hoping
like-
that was just one joke that was in the trailer. I was hoping that was over and done.
Yeah, I was gonna say this feels like the
We
kind
don't
of
talk
game that
about
would.
them a lot, but
That's
This
better
feels
at
like
least. But
This definitely feels like the kind of game that would have an area called like the Mountain of Dew, and it would be spelled like DEUE or something like.
that's funny. There is like a cracked open can of what looks like orange
Like,
pop to me.
Yeah.
Something that's cool about this game is it's very inclusive. There is no
Mhm.
male, female, boy, girl. You choose this one or that one for the body,
Mhm.
so a bigger body or a smaller body. The voices are like Gallant A and Gallant B rather than male A, male B, or
Yeah.
B, whatever. You get the gist. And then you can choose your own pronouns, which is good. Apparently not good to some people on the internet, according to my review, but I thought it was a nice touch.
Well, you know what, and I wanted to say that to that point too. That like, you know what, it was like reading that in your review. Like it was genuinely nice to read because like I think we've talked about it before. We were talking about it in Story of Seasons. Funny enough, how like
Yeah.
a lot of games that are trying now to be more inclusive towards like transgender people and like the LGBTQ like community. They sort of only really ever get like halfway there, like
Yeah.
So actually like seeing a game that really committed to it and just said, okay, you know what, like it doesn't need to be an issue, it's just here and you can have it if you want it.
What issue?
Like,
what's so bad?
nobody's
about this
losing
one, that
anything.
one?
Like
I didn't use the word boy or girl. Oh, yeah.
it's like
Yeah,
even
God
even,
forbid.
even
It worked.
Pokemon has
I got the
corrected the
point.
language on this one. Get over it. Like
Yeah,
it's
like,
the way
yeah.
things are going. Get over it.
It was good. It was a nice touch. I hope that it works out well. The only other thing that I would say is I don't know if any of you have played the Fable games.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The dialogue and the comedy style is very much
Very
like
Fable.
those games.
Like
very
which
very
Fable?
Very
silly.
dry.
Well, I guess that's fair.
Fable
played the
1,
more recent
yeah.
Blind.
No, which one is it where he yells balls?
Oh, it's been too long.
Anybody?
Yeah,
And it
it's a
doesn't
good
really look
question.
That's a weird thing, but it was.
Oh, I remember that. That
kind of
was
humor.
Hour 5 of Halo 3.
No,
Fable
that's a memorable moment for me because I used to yell that all the time, and I was a huge Fable fan. And I was sitting with my ex-husband at the time and playing it, and this guy just comes out of nowhere, one of the main characters, and just goes, "Oh, balls!" And I died. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world because it was my thing, and this was my game, and it was a whole situation. Anyway, it's very much that sort of style humor. It is immature humor. For some, it might even be too much. Like Tiny Tina is very loud, very boisterous, and to some, that's a lot. But for me, I found myself actually like sitting and laughing along with the game, and that's not something I do often. I want to play it. It was a review code on the PC, but I'm getting it for the Xbox now, and I'm pretty excited. And I would like to leave this podcast and go play. Thanks. Just kidding. But, like, only kidding.
What I'm actually coming around on this one too. Like I'm actually considering picking it up tomorrow myself because I just haven't played a D&D game in a long time. Jonesing for that kind of experience, but
I can't say it's much like that. I like that they do, like, they kind of break the fourth wall sometimes, and they talk about like this character's not even painted yet before you build your character. You're just this like plain figure running around, and I like stuff like that. It makes me happy.
I that's one thing that kind of interests me is like that kind of in joke styles. Like how am I going to react to that? Is it going to be like the Cheeto thing, which kind of like irks me because that's just a really bad trope of D&D
Go
players.
watch.
That
We
doesn't
threw up
hold
a
true.
YouTube video of like the first section of the game, and you'll get everything you need out of that to see the kind of humor and the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
Awesome.
On our YouTube channel.
Plus, yeah, the crossplay options are pretty diverse too, which is nice. Because I got friends who are
That
getting
is
an
actually
Xbox.
impressive.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about getting it for PlayStation, and I'll be able to hook up with my Xbox friends, which is kind of nice.
I
Since they
can't say
chose
that
the
I
wrong
did test a
side
lot of the multiplayer because there weren't a lot of people multiplaying at the time, so I
Is
can't
there
speak
local?
for how that goes. I'm not sure actually, but
That's a dying art, local multiplayer.
I was gonna
So
say
I'd be
Yeah.
surprised.
a
I
lot of
never
the, like,
even thought to look for it.
I never got, like, I mean, I never got, like, into Borderlands on my own, just
Yeah.
because I like, it's like the same thing with, like, Destiny and stuff like that. Like, those kinds of, like, looter shooters, they're fun for a little while, and then I find them to get really, like, repetitive and boring. But, like, Borderlands 1 and 2, the only reason I really stuck with it to the end, because it was, like, something me and my brother used to play all the time, because it had the split screen co-op, right? So it's like every Friday night we just, like, chill out for, hours playing that game. And it's just a good time to, like, have with someone else. So it always felt like that was at least one
Yeah.
thing that would carry through on every Borderlands. You'd have at least, like, 2-player split screen.
But what you just said about, like, being the looter shooter and it getting boring, that's kind of something I say in the review too. Is it very much is that kind of game, but the actors and the script and the
Make it
story
fun.
kept me enjoying myself.
Yeah.
I also liked that I could, like, shoot skeletons and their heads would fall off and they'd still that made me happy too. But you know.
So with the
Skeleton
looter
mod.
shooter genre, there comes a lot of, like, replay and stuff. Like, how much of the acting performance will carry into, like, the replay, do you think?
There's a lot to find in the game. So if you're a collector, you'll want to go back. There's also a chaos dungeon when you reach max level that every time you play it, it's different. So it gives you something to do, especially if you want to get into co-op and play with your friends. It gives you something to do rather than just go around looting maps, which is probably where I'll stay because I don't like other people. But except you guys are cool. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. I can't wait to search it all.
Yeah, because so sometimes, like, in voice acted games, like, you'll find it drops out, like, in later stages of the game, or, like, replaying or grinding in an area, the dialogue will slowly taper out. So, like, if that was to fall out, like, that'd be losing a lot of, like, the reason why you're playing in particular. So I'm kind of curious about the replay value on this one. But
I'm hoping that the collecting will keep me, because that's very much what I do in any game, even Animal Crossing. The only thing that kept me playing it so long was that I wanted one of everything. I literally have an entire area on my island that is just displaying one of everything.
you make your own goals in that game for sure. Just one last thing too, I just want to ask you too, like, since you didn't play the Borderlands series before this, how do you feel about that aspect of it now? Because again, I haven't played Borderlands either.
I'm going to go play them now because I did enjoy it, and I hope that the story is just as good. I don't know. I can't really speak to that. Jordan said he didn't love the story all that much in the Borderlands games, but I'm interested. I think, was it 3 that we got, Brendan?
Yes.
Yeah. So we picked up Borderlands 3. So now I have options for gaming.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's cool. I dig it. Yeah.
All right. Brendan, did you have anything that you reviewed this week?
I could talk about Gold quickly, which is the movie I just reviewed.
Oh, right, yeah.
So Gold is an interesting film because I didn't know what to expect walking in. Seeing Zac Efron in it, I was kind of expecting more of like an action movie, but what I got was a character study of a man that is stuck in a desert, hoarding over gold and slowly going insane as the elements try to kill him. Kind of a Revenant type movie with the DiCaprio Elements movie that was a few years ago. But instead of the wilderness of, like, ice-covered wasteland, it's now a desert. And Zac Efron looks rough. And judging by the fact that he's known for just being attractive.
Hey,
yeah.
now.
I mean, that's
right.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, he's not a bad actor, but he didn't really have any chance.
He can play musical basketball. Come on.
There you go. But this really showed his acting chops. I really loved how he did let himself. He looked like he was suffering. He brought that angst and pain and stuff to the screen really well. The problem I had with the film was the storyline was bare bones at best, and it didn't give enough backstory.
So much so that there weren't character names. They're literally listed as Man 1 and Man 2 or something like that. Yeah.
So that's one of my review. I just called him Efron because he didn't have a person. I could call him Drifter, or I could call him Random Vagabond, but I just call him Efron because he had no name.
Really dirty guy.
It's probably
Yeah.
Aloysius.
So, but like throughout the film, you see how much his character's just like suffering because he's constantly burning in the sun. So you see it's like all these like spots in his face that have just like straight up burns. You see him like his body is slowly deteriorating. His lips are all chapped. So it's really interesting on that front. I just wish there was more concept of why someone would go through this trouble and leave whatever life they had in the city and come to this weird wasteland. Also, it seemed like wealth had no meaning anymore. Like all civilization was crumbling. So I don't know what gold would really matter. So the fact that they're fighting over this like chunk of gold is cool. But if money doesn't mean anything or civilization doesn't exist, what is gold going to do for you? It never really explained any of that sort of thing. So there's a lot of questions I had with the experience, and I wish they gave it just a little bit more world building to make it all make sense. Also, they had signs in the world. So in the opening scenes of the movie, you see them going into the small little town that's like a hut. But you see a sign, and it's written in Korean and a Sanskrit and a few other things. But I don't really understand why all those cultures would be randomly in this desert, but everyone speaks in English, but just different accents of English, so it's all over the place. There's a lot of inconsistencies, and I don't know if they really knew what the overall story was. And all they really had was people find gold in desert, and that's cool.
Kind of sounds like they were going for some kind of
when they're greedy.
Yeah, it sounds like they're going for some kind of heavy-handed moral about greed and stuff, but didn't.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what they were doing.
It just feels like it was his. Like this was Zac Efron's "I'm gonna win an Oscar" movie, but it just didn't quite pan out. You know, like the I lost a bunch of weight and now I get an Oscar movie, or I got really dirty and now I get an Oscar movie.
Or I look like a tough dad. Yeah.
He is a smoke show, even dirty, but like that's a whole different story.
No, I think
ever since that show,
I think it's worth watching because it's not very long. It's like an hour and a half, so it's not a huge time commitment, and and Efron's performance makes it worth looking at. But it's only skin deep, and I feel that they could have done so much more with the material had they taken that next step.
Extra half hour, make it a full length movie, and then let us know what's up, so we have a reason to feel like. Clearly, I watched it with Brendan.
But even if they had like a scene of like what it was like in the city, like why Efron left, or showed what money matters, or given enough backstory so we understand. They kind of
explain where he's going, but we don't really know why or what.
To get a job, but they've also said
really. It was like a weird like convent kind of thing. Like he was talking like he was going to join a cult, and we're like, why? What? Okay, feelings.
There was a lot going on.
Or what you said about him being known for being handsome, like that does hold true. Like I never thought much of him, when High School Musical came out. Like, oh, it's another star. Like, sure, he sings well, but like that's not enough to make a career on. So when he came back with that show on Netflix like a year and a half ago, like my wife was watching it because she used to love High School Musical when we were teenagers. And I was like, what the hell happened to him? Like, he's so different. I feel like this is just like him trying to.
The show where he was like learning about energy and all those.
Yeah, like him going around and having people explain things about the world to him. Yeah, going to all these weird places.
I did that with him. Or I did do that with him. I watched that with him.
You were there. Awesome.
I was there. I'm the camera guy.
This kind of sounds to me like him trying to break out of whatever mold he was in.
Yeah, which must be hard, much like Robert Pattinson with Batman from Twilight, right?
Absolutely. Like this feels like a proof of concept. Like, hey, I can do a like.
You should have played the Joker instead.
Substantial role. Yeah. What's up with that guy?
What's going on there?
Just like that guy from Eternals, who I thought nothing of and didn't care for his character whatsoever, and thought he had no character. He's the Joker. Okay. All right. We can play in this space, Warner Brothers. Let's go. So let's kind of move into our last segment here, the what you playing. Because I don't know if this would fall under.
Continuity's sake, We've lost Jordan to technical difficulties. He may be back, he may not, but I don't want to leave it a mystery like he's been murdered. Oh wait, as he comes in, I literally just told everybody you left, the whole internet,
I was.
and then
Hi,
you made
Jordan.
me a liar.
Yeah.
Ooh, with burrito finger. I'm sorry.
No, don't remind the burritos.
Don't break. Yeah, we don't need to talk
I
about that.
hate
one.
everyone. I hate everyone.
Yeah.
That's
You
okay.
hired
So-
all of us.
The end of our review section / start of the impressions section. I'm checking out the new iPad Air. It's received in the posts.
Yep.
In the post.
Is it iPad Air
Yeah.
or iPad Pro?
The post.
iPad Air.
Okay.
Although it can do some things that the Pro, that you would expect of the Pro. I was in a briefing earlier today, and I'm really impressed with some of the stuff it can pull off. They're showing us some beta software that's like stuff that's not out yet, but coming out. Very, very exciting. Some of the stuff this thing can do, like the 3D modeling of this one program, very intuitive. Like
On an iPad?
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So in the one demo, we were shown basically like laying out the floor plan for a kid's room. It's like so he had drawn prior to the demo like a set of climbers or something, like a bunk bed that was looked like a treehouse you'd have outside. So he wanted to draw like a window in it. Drew a really kind of shaky thing with the Apple Pencil, and the software just recognized what it was and corrected it into a proper rectangle, which is great for me because I suck at drawing on tablets. They sent along the Apple Pencil. I suck at drawing, period. But yeah, so that's the new iPad with the shiny blue case on the back.
Can you show it yet?
Yes. I say after showing it. Maybe I'll just put that back down there. No, it's this is all visible. Like this would be on their website, I'm sure.
Right. It's just what it can do so far yet.
Yeah, so
You
it's
shit about spoilers.
Yeah,
well, I didn't
everybody
give
needs
away
that
the entire
today.
didn't give away the entire game. But anyways, yeah, some of the stuff that it can do is like I'm surprised an iPad that's not an iPad Pro is doing this.
That's really cool.
Because the Pro's been powerful for a while, from what I understand. I don't actually have one.
The Pro
but,
is really powerful, yeah.
Yeah, and like these are some of the functions that were, kind of restricted to the Pro before. Now they're in the Air, which is really exciting. Yeah, and just my one kind of quibble with the accessories for the last iPad I reviewed in November was that they weren't really up to standard for what I thought. They fixed that this time around. The case goes around the entire thing. Last time it was just like half a case, so I was like, well, the back of the case is exposed. And this is a rental. Like this isn't my own thing to worry about. Like you're giving me anxiety here. No, they fixed that. The case is fantastic. The new keyboard is really solid. Looking forward to seeing what it can do in my daily life.
Awesome.
As we work on the review for that. So
spoiler alert to anyone listening: we don't always get to keep the tech.
Yeah.
Like this is leaving me soon.
Aw, just like the chair left.
But
yeah, that was the iPad Air.
Cool.
Nice.
What y'all else been playing?
All right.
What y'all else been
Fortnite.
playing?
Well, Tina, clearly, because I had to get that done really late the other night, and then decided not to post it for 2 extra days because I hate sleep. But yeah, Fortnite with the fam jam. I have my Switch here with me. I might go back into Story of Seasons because I'm wild like that. But now I want to play Tina. Brendan, you doing anything?
No.
Jordan.
That's par for the course.
I mean, Fortnite, Elden Ring, which I actually had to take a big break from while I was playing recently, just with like circumstantial stuff, and then I was playing Kirby and I was playing Rune Factory. Kind of jumped back into Smash Bros again. Part of me hates it, part of me loves it. I dummied some people today that made me really happy, but then you hop online and people are really cheeseball and it's very aggravating. Yeah, you know what? Funny enough that you mentioned that, I kind of want to maybe go back to Pioneers of Allentown myself because
I need to have a game like that in my rotation just to be my I don't want to think today. I just want to love life.
That's Animal Crossing for me, really. But I kind of feel like Rune Factory 5 left a really bad taste in my mouth, and now I need to play Stardew Valley, something to remind myself. It's no, wait, farm sims are still really good.
We like that.
You can have combat and farming in a game, and it doesn't have to be terrible.
Well, there you go.
I don't think I still own
Chris,
it.
are
No,
you
I
actually
don't.
playing anything though?
I checked out I checked out Fortnite. For one or two games, like I said, but Destiny 2 had my attention last week because of the Iron Banner event.
Mhm.
It's like a weekly rotate. Well, not a weekly rotation. It comes back. Yeah. So Iron Banner is a PvP event that comes around a couple times a season. So that was last week's kind of feature in the game, and still on the grind for getting my power level up. My one kind of complaint with the game multiplayer wise these days is that the power discrepancy really feels high. So if your power level isn't quite up there with everybody else, it really feels weighted against you. Like all the damage I'm doing doesn't really compare, and then like someone will come in and take my kill, which I don't really care about normally, but there are goals I'm trying to progress through.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care because it's a team based PvP event, so I don't care as long as we win. But when I'm trying to finish a thing so I can get better, like cooler gear, I care then. So
Yeah. Damn
That
it.
makes sense.
That's
but
when
yeah,
we
no,
play
that's
Fortnite. We're like, oh, got your kill. Sorry. I'm like, I don't care. I suck.
it's
Be lucky
squads.
if I get
It's
one.
fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I might hop back into Fortnite this weekend and see what's going on with that and enjoy the no building while it lasts.
It's pretty fun. I honestly think you will enjoy it. Like
Until you
That- like
accidentally
that
run into
movement
a boss,
alone.
and you're like, ah.
the movement's cool. Like shifting from a sprint into like a slide is really fun. Like yeah, the way you can just
jump
like
everywhere now.
really
'cause
quickly
I'm,
like grab onto
ridiculous.
ledges and jump up onto things. Like
It
Well,
was
and
really
that's
cool.
the
I was
funny
really impressed
thing.
with the demo thing.
Is I didn't even really register that because I've been playing Tina, and you do that in that game. That's
Just
normal.
yeah.
You run and you mantle,
Well-
like it's even called mantle. And then I was doing it in Fortnite. I was like, oh wait,
yeah.
that's not supposed to. What?
Doom
Didn't
Doom
register.
Doom 2016 did that too. Was like I mean there was like a lot of games before that did it too. I think COD was doing it for a long time too. But like
I just love that I didn't even register that I was doing it because
Yeah.
I've been doing it elsewhere. I was like, this is fine. I'm like,
But
something's
like
different.
and that's like that's the thing too. Like that's where like because there was like one moment where I was laughing because there was I got into a fight with a guy. There was like a big like square bunker in the ground, and like my brain was still attuned to Fortnite as like you need to build to do things. So I was like I fought him, and then I got killed, but he was like he like fell into that hole. So I was like, oh well, sucks to be him. He's stuck in a hole now. The storm's gonna come and kill him. And I didn't even register that like he didn't need to build a ramp to get out of there. Like he just like jump and vault up out of there. So yeah, like it's just like the a lot of the movement options were compensated for by building, where you could just like ramp up a lot of things. And but like it's been very nice to play Fortnite and not like get into a game where you fire one bullet and then a guy builds this giant tower just to like get shot by me again and die in 5 seconds. Like
Yeah.
you got nowhere to
I
run
do
now.
like the shooting. The shooting is fun.
Yeah, but at the same time,
Yeah, I
also
mean-
like there was like a certain degree of strategy to like kind of like building walls to like give yourself some cover, like when guys were
For
firing
me,
at
it's
you
just
from a
having
distance.
to run around shit now. I'm
Yeah.
so mad that I've gotten so used to just going up and
Yeah.
over. Every other game on the planet, like I'm sitting in Skyrim trying to like jump up a mountain and it's
Yeah,
not
like,
working.
clip up a mountain.
And now in Fortnite, I'm like, oh, but the other day I went to like there was a bridge I had to go to, and I normally would just like have built across to it. And I was like, oh, but I actually have to like. I was so mad.
That's for suckers. Yeah, I mean, like literally the only time I ever build is if I'm trying to revive somebody and I want to throw some cover up. That's really
Yeah.
the only time I ever built in Fortnite.
I
And
I try to panic
exclusively,
build
like,
when somebody
never
shoots
do.
at me, but like it's like wall here. This whole camera thing is messing with me. Wall here, wall here, wall here. None of them touch.
Well, I mean, like, and for me too, the only time it really affects me, like building, is at the end of a match. If I get towards the end and I'm like one of the last, or if my squad is one of the last ones on the field, then that's when the building starts to become a factor for me. Everything else before that, when there's like 90 other players, doesn't seem to really be a thing. It's just when you got, usually the final showdowns, for my experience, anyways, ends with a bunch of like random walls and stuff. So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I mean,
I'd rather focus on the shooting than the building.
and I would echo that sentiment too, because in my experience, even when it does come down to the final showdown, like I typically never find myself relying too much on building stuff. Like I've gotten into games where like guys will just keep building and building and building. I'll just sit on the floor, just like waiting for them until I get my opportunity and I shoot them and I win. Like
This is why I normally keep something explosive in my inventory if I can, like the sticky, like the plunger bomb things. People sleep on those things. They're fantastic.
No, they're great. Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
So many times I'll down somebody and then I'll stick them with one just for fun. But that kind of goes against what I said earlier about feeling bad for picking on kids to play the game. But
yep. Like I said, I'll give you my 7-year-old and he will crush you, and then he'll be like, "No, you must die now."
No,
and I wouldn't blame you. I'd support it.
There are 2 wolves inside of you,
Brendan,
and one will throw a sticky bomb at a child. On that note.
And that's the show.
And on the note of the 2 wolves, I think that's going to do it for us this week. If you'd like to read more on these topics, like these reviews that we are talking about tonight, you can find full coverage at cgmagonline.com. Be sure to follow CG Magazine on all the socials. And if you have any questions or comments, send them to podcast@cgmagonline.com. Jordan, where can people find you?
You can find me drawing stuff on Instagram, and you can find me making stupid videos on TikTok at Ninja X Jordan. Yeah, no, I'm shifting away. Twitter is old news, baby.
It's more that you're on TikTok now, and you're just like that.
I got a 2,000 views on me eating a freaking Reese's cup with chips.
One of those views. Actually, I'm probably 2 of those views.
And I was like, holy Jesus. It was better than I expected, I'll be honest. But it was also like not as like, you know, anyway. Yeah, so and
we'll talk about the peanut butter cup after.
YouTube, baby, Ninja Reviews.
Dayna.
I am what I just realized today on Twitch. I am only at Dayna Eileen, not the Dayna Eileen, and I'm the Dayna Eileen everywhere else. Wahaha.
And Brendan.
B426 and everything.
And you can find me on.
He just waits to be miserable. It's just like B4.
And you can find me on Twitter at Hoogthy and here on Twitch at Guild 2 Taps. So from everyone here at CG Magazine, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.